Hi, I'm John Lieber, Managing Director for the United States at the Eurasia Group, and I'm here in front of the Emancipation Memorial in Lincoln Park in Washington, D.C., which is currently behind barricades because some protesters want to tear it down. This is U.S. Politics in 60 Seconds. First question. With the tit-for-tat escalation of closing consulates between the U.S. and China this week, are U.S.-China relations at an all-time low? Well, they're certainly not very good, and probably the most important marker was a really tough speech given by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo at the Nixon Center in California, perhaps important for its symbolism that this is an end of an era of engagement that began with President Nixon in 1969. You've got a lot of escalating factors. You've got these closing embassies, accusations of espionage by the Chinese, the potential banning of TikTok and WeChat in the U.S., you've got the potential banning of Huawei, and of course you've got the ongoing trade war and sanctions. Now the trade war may become less important as a factor along with the other worsening parts of this relationship. The Chinese have retaliated so far proportionally. They don't want to be seen as the ones escalating this in advance of a presidential election. Next question. With the presence of federal troops in Portland, does this blur federal state authorities, and what's the line here? Well, the president is well within his rights and means to enforce federal law inside the United States, and that's what he claims he's doing by sending troops in to protect the courthouses in Portland. However, his tactics have been controversial. For one, there's the use of unidentified police officers, unmarked police vehicles. There's also accusations the executive order under which he's doing this targets constitutionally protected speech. And of course, there's the fact that the Portland mayor doesn't want the federal support. However, this isn't the case everywhere. The president has announced he's sending federal support to Chicago and Albuquerque, and probably later in the summer, you're going to see federal support show up in Cleveland, Detroit, and Milwaukee, three large cities in swing states. And this is an obviously important electoral issue as the president continues to try to make his pitch to suburban voters. Last question, who will Joe Biden pick as his running mate? Well, I think this really depends on if Biden thinks he needs to pick an African-American woman or not. If he does decide to pick an African-American woman, he's so far ahead in the polls right now that he probably just goes with someone safe. The safest bet is a well-known Senator Kamala Harris, who already ran for president. He also is looking at Representative Karen Bass, the head of the Congressional Black Caucus, and Susan Rice, President Obama's former national security advisor. That's less likely, though, because since 1972, there have been no running mates in the U.S. that lack electoral experience, which she does not have. If he decides he doesn't need an African-American, then I think probably he goes with one of the governors that's available to him, Rhode Island or Michigan or perhaps New Mexico. These people have credible governing experience, could potentially run for president in 4 years, and could step in if needed. What I think he's not going to do is pick a mayor or a progressive. A mayor, because anything that happens in that mayor's city becomes an issue on the campaign, and he does not need that. And a progressive, because that person's going to have a competing policy base inside the White House. And he knows as a former vice president, you got to be on the same page. Thanks for joining us this week. This has been U.S. Politics in 60 Seconds.